Hello, everyone. Welcome to English Today Journey. I'm very happy that you are here. If this is your first time, thank you for joining. And if you've been here before, welcome back. This is a special place where we learn English together, improve our skills step by step, and have fun while doing it. Before we start, take a deep breath, relax, get comfortable, maybe grab a cup of tea and settle in. Let's enjoy this time together. Today, we are going to talk about something very important, not only for learning English, but also for life in general. The skill we will focus on is called critical thinking. I know this might sound like a big, complicated word. You might think, isn't critical thinking something for universities or serious books? But don't worry. I will explain it in a very simple way so you can understand it easily. By the end of this lesson, you will know what critical thinking is, why it is useful, and how to practice in your daily life while improving your English at the same time. So, why is critical thinking important? Think about your everyday life. Every day, you see and hear hundreds of messages. You scroll through social media, watch videos on YouTube, listen to news, and talk to friends, family, or coworkers. Everyone has ideas, opinions, advice, or facts to share. Sometimes it feels like standing in the middle of a busy street, with people shouting in every direction. One person says, "Do this." Another says, "No, don't do that." One friend says, "Believe this," while another says, "No, believe the opposite." It can feel confusing, and it is hard to know what to trust or what to do. This is exactly where critical thinking becomes useful. Critical thinking is the skill of thinking clearly and carefully before making a decision. It helps you notice what is true, what is opinion, and what might be misleading. It allows you to ask questions, check facts, and think about different sides of a situation. In other words, critical thinking helps you avoid making mistakes just because someone told you to do something or because something sounds convincing. It helps you make smart decisions, understand people better, and solve problems more easily. You can start practicing critical thinking right now, and it will also help you improve your English. For example, when you read a text in English or listen to a video, ask yourself, is this really true? How do I know? Try to explain it in your own words. Compare it with other sources. Think about whether it makes sense. Doing this will not only make your English stronger, but also make your mind sharper. Critical thinking is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. It is useful in school, work, and everyday life. It helps you make better decisions, solve problems, and understand the world in a deeper way. Even when you watch a fun video or read a story, you can ask questions. Why did this happen, or what could happen next? Or do I agree with this idea? This kind of thinking becomes natural over time. So today, remember this. Critical thinking is a simple, powerful skill that makes you smarter and helps you in every part of life. Start with small steps. Ask questions. Think carefully. Check your facts. Notice different opinions. Practice every day in English and in life. With practice, you will get better and better, and soon, thinking critically will feel as normal as breathing. And that is the start of your journey with critical thinking. Step by step, day by day, you can improve your mind and your English together. Keep learning, stay curious, and remember, thinking well is a skill anyone can develop. It's easy to feel lost in today's world. Every day, we see so many messages, opinions, and ideas that it can be hard to know what to believe. Sometimes, we might believe something that isn't true just because it was said confidently or shared by many people. That is why critical thinking is more important now than ever before. When people hear the word critical, they often think it is negative. For example, if someone says, "She is very critical," we usually imagine a person who is always judging, always pointing out mistakes, or always finding problems. But in the context of critical thinking, the word critical has a very different meaning. Here, it does not mean rude, negative, or judgmental. Instead, it means being careful, thoughtful, and serious about how we look at things. It means thinking in a way that is smart, clear, and not easily fooled. So, When we say critical thinking, we are talking about a skill that allows us to pause and ask important questions. We don't just believe something immediately. We take a moment to consider, is this really true? Does it make sense? What evidence do I have? Are there other points of view? Asking these questions is the heart of critical thinking. It allows us to see the whole picture instead of just one side. Critical thinking is not about being harsh or negative. It's about being careful, thoughtful, and wise in how we make decisions, understand information, and solve problems. By using critical thinking, you protect yourself from false information, poor decisions, and mistakes that happen because of emotions or pressure. In fact, thinking critically is a real strength. It makes your mind stronger, sharper, and more prepared for life. Now, let's look at the second part of the term. Thinking. Thinking is something we all do every day, usually without noticing. We think when we plan our day, make decisions, solve problems, or even just imagine things in our minds. But not all thinking is the same. Critical thinking is a special kind of thinking. It is deliberate and careful. You think carefully, question what you hear or see, and consider all sides before forming an opinion or making a decision. For example, imagine you see a post on social media that says something surprising. You might feel excited or shocked, and the first reaction could be to believe it immediately. But critical thinking tells you to pause. Ask yourself, who wrote this? Why did they write it? Is it true? Can I check it somewhere else? This kind of thinking slows you down in a useful way. It keeps you from rushing into mistakes and helps you make better choices. Critical thinking is like a tool you can use in all areas of life. It helps you in conversations with friends, when learning English in school, at work, or even just making everyday decisions. It gives you clarity and confidence because you know you're looking at things carefully instead of blindly following what others say. The more you practice critical thinking, the more natural it becomes. Over time, asking questions, checking facts, and considering different points of view will feel like second nature. So today, we are starting a journey into critical thinking. Step by step, we will explore how to use this skill in your daily life and in your English learning. You will see how pausing, questioning, and thinking carefully can change the way you see the world. Remember, being critical in this sense is not a weakness. It is a strength, a skill that makes you smarter, wiser, and more confident every day. We all think almost all the time. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what is thinking really? Thinking is more than just the automatic flow of thoughts in your mind. It is a tool you can use to understand yourself, reflect, and grow. When you use English or any language as a way to express yourself, you are not just learning words. You are learning to think clearly and express your ideas confidently. This is how you improve not only as an English learner, but also as a person. Learning a language gives you a chance to explore your mind, organize your thoughts, and share your ideas with others. Critical thinking, which we talked about earlier, is one way to do this. By questioning what you hear, checking facts, and thinking carefully, you are exercising your mind. But another important part of thinking is noticing how your mind can get stuck in negative patterns. One example of this is a concept called rumination. On this channel, we always talk about topics that are useful for your life, and today is no different. We use simple, clear English so you can understand easily, practice your listening, and even try speaking along. So take a deep breath, relax, and let's dive into today's topic, rumination. Rumination is a word that might sound new or strange, but describes a feeling most people know very well. Rumination happens when you think again and again about the same thing, usually something that makes you unhappy. It is often negative thoughts like worries, regrets, or anger that keep replaying in your mind. Imagine your mind is like a song stuck on repeat. No matter what you do, the same thought keeps coming back. Maybe it's something that happened yesterday, a mistake you made, or something someone said that upset you. Your mind keeps going over it over and over, and it can make you feel stressed, sad, or frustrated. Rumination is different from helpful thinking. Helpful thinking allows you to look at a problem, find solutions, and move on. Rumination keeps you stuck in the problem, without solving it. It can take your energy, affect your mood, and make it harder to focus on other things, including learning English or enjoying life. That's why it's important to recognize when you are ruminating and take steps to shift your mind toward more positive or productive thinking. You can use English as a tool to help with this. For example, writing down your thoughts in English, speaking them out loud, or even explaining them to someone else can help you see things more clearly. When you slow down, reflect, and use language carefully, your mind has a chance to release negative patterns and think more clearly. This is not only good for your English skills, but also for your emotional health. Finally, if you enjoyed this episode, I would be very grateful if you liked, shared, or subscribed to the channel. Leave a comment below and tell me about your experiences with critical thinking or rumination. Sharing stories helps all of us learn and grow together. Spending this time thinking, reflecting, and practicing English is an investment in yourself. I hope after today's lesson, you feel inspired, encouraged, and more confident in your ability to think clearly and live wisely. Remember, you got this. Keep learning, keep asking questions, keep growing every day. English Today Journey is a place for learning step by step. We talk about ideas that are useful for your life while helping you practice simple and clear English. By combining learning English with learning about your mind and life, you are improving in 2 ways at once. You are growing as a speaker of English and as a thinker. Today we started looking at rumination, a common challenge, and by understanding it, you can start to take control of your thoughts instead of letting your thoughts control you. Rumination happens when a thought gets stuck in your head, and you can't stop thinking about it. Maybe you made a mistake yesterday, and now your mind keeps saying, "Why did I do that? I should not have done that." You repeat this thought over and over again. Or maybe you had an argument with someone. You remember exactly what they said and exactly what you said. You feel angry, upset, or frustrated, and you cannot let it go. Sometimes rumination is about the future. You worry about something that might happen, and your mind keeps going in circles, thinking about the problem again and again, even though you don't have the answer yet. Your mind is like a hamster running on a wheel. It's moving, but it's not getting anywhere. This is rumination. It is thinking too much about one problem without finding a solution or moving forward. So, why is rumination a problem? The answer is simple. It can affect your mental health. When you spend too much time thinking about negative things, it can make you feel unhappy, stressed, or anxious. It can even make you feel tired because your brain is working all the time on the same thought. When your mind is full of rumination, it is hard to enjoy the present moment. You are not living in today. Instead, your mind is stuck in the past or worrying about the future. The good news is that you can learn to deal with rumination. The first step is understanding it. When you recognize that your mind is caught in a loop of repeated negative thoughts, you can take action to stop it. You can practice letting go of thoughts that don't help you. You can bring your attention back to the present moment. For example, notice the sights, sounds, and feelings around you. Take a deep breath. Focus on what you're doing right now. Over time, this practice helps your mind feel lighter, calmer, and happier. Life feels more peaceful when you stop letting rumination control you. This episode of English Today Journey helps you in 2 ways at the same time. First, you are learning about rumination, an important topic for your mind and your life. Second, you are practicing your English. As you listen to the sentences, you hear clear and simple English that you can understand and remember. You notice new words and context, which helps you learn naturally. You can also try repeating sentences out loud after me. This is a great way to practice your speaking, pronunciation, and confidence. By paying attention to both your mind and your English skills, you are growing in 2 ways. You are learning to think more clearly and manage your thoughts, and you are learning to use English in real-life situations. Using English as a tool for reflection helps you express your thoughts, organize your ideas, and understand yourself better. Thinking carefully in English also gives you practice forming sentences, using vocabulary, and improving your listening skills. Rumination may feel difficult, But by noticing it and practicing techniques to stop it, you can regain control of your mind. You can choose to focus on solutions instead of problems, on the present instead of the past, and on actions instead of worry. Combining this practice with your English learning makes every moment of listening and speaking valuable. You are training your brain, your mind, and your language skills all at once. Remember, every time you pause, reflect, and bring your attention back to the present, you are strengthening your mind and improving your English at the same time. You are becoming calmer, wiser, and more confident. This is the power of combining learning and thinking together. Today, we are learning something very important, not only for your English, but also for your life. Let's take a moment to review what we have learned so far. Rumination means thinking again and again about the same thing. Most of the time, these thoughts are negative. They make you feel sad, angry, or worried. Rumination does not solve problems. Instead, it keeps your mind stuck on the same thought, and this only makes you feel worse. When we notice that we are ruminating, the first step is to let go of the thought and return to the present moment. This simple action can help you feel calmer, more peaceful, and more in control of your life. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will explore how to stop rumination and what practical things you can do when your mind feels stuck. The more you think about something over and over, the more upset or sad you feel. That is exactly what rumination does. It traps your mind in a loop of negativity. Let me give you an example. Imagine you had a small argument with a friend. Perhaps you said something in the heat of the moment that you didn't really mean. After the argument, instead of moving on, your mind keeps replaying the conversation like a movie. You think, why did I say that? Or, I should have stayed quiet. You imagine how your friend felt. You think about what you could have said differently. But instead of helping the situation, this only makes you feel worse. You may start feeling more upset with yourself, and you may even worry about the future of your friendship. This is rumination, thinking without finding a solution and letting negative emotions take over. Here's another example. Imagine you made a small mistake at work or at school. It was not a major problem, but you can't stop thinking about it. You replay the moment in your head again and again. You think about how your teacher or boss looked at you. You say to yourself, I'm not good enough, or I always make mistakes. Even when you are at home with your family, your mind keeps going back to that one small event. Rumination takes away your peace, keeps you stuck in negative thinking, and makes it harder to enjoy the present moment. Rumination is tricky because it often feels automatic. You may not even notice that your thoughts are repeating until you feel tired, anxious, or sad. But the good news is that you can train your mind to stop this loop. Awareness is the first step, recognizing when your mind is ruminating. The next step is taking action, such as bringing your attention back to what is happening right now, focusing on your breathing, or noticing the things around you. Even small actions like going for a walk, writing down your thoughts, or talking to someone you trust can help you move your mind away from negative loops and back into present. When we practice this, we are not only managing our emotions, but we are also practicing English at the same time. You can use English to describe your feelings, think about your day, or even write about your experiences. This makes your learning more meaningful because you are using the language to express yourself, understand your mind, and solve problems. By combining language practice and mental clarity, you grow in two important ways at once. Understanding rumination is a first step to feeling better and living with more peace. In the next part, we will explore practical strategies to stop rumination and take control of your thoughts. Are you ready to continue this journey? Let's go step by step together, learning to think clearly, live mindfully, and grow as confident English speakers. Sometimes, even a small mistake can keep your mind stuck in a loop. You remember what happened, replay it in your head, and feel bad again and again. Even when you're trying to rest or relax, your thoughts keep turning around that one event. This is rumination. Your mind is stuck on something small, and it makes you feel unhappy repeatedly. Rumination is not always about recent events. Sometimes it is about the past. Maybe something happened a long time ago, but when you remember it, the same feelings of sadness or anger come back. For example, perhaps someone was unkind to you years ago. You can still hear their words in your mind, and it hurts all over again. Or maybe you think about a chance you missed. You imagine, if only I had done this, if only I had said that, but the past cannot be changed, and yet your mind keeps pulling it back over and over. This is rumination. It keeps you trapped in negative thoughts and prevents you from enjoying the present moment. Rumination can also be about the future. Sometimes we worry about things that have not even happened yet. For instance, maybe you have to give a speech or attend a job interview. Your mind keeps asking, what if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I forget my words? You imagine all the things that could go wrong. This, too, is rumination. Thinking too much about the future creates stress, nervousness, and anxiety, even before the event has arrived. Here is the big problem with rumination. It feels like thinking is helping, like you're trying to solve a problem or find an answer. But in reality, rumination does not solve anything. It does not give you new ideas or solutions. Instead, it only makes you feel more tired, more worried, and more unhappy. Your thoughts go in circles again and again, but nothing changes. To understand this better, let's use a picture. Imagine a cow eating grass. The cow chews the same grass over and over. In fact, that is where the word rumination comes from. Cows chew their food again and again, slowly. Humans do something similar, but instead of grass, we chew our thoughts. We think about the same idea repeatedly. But unlike cows, chewing our thoughts does not give us anything new. It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't make us feel better. It only keeps our mind busy in a loop, wasting energy, and keeping us stuck in negative feelings. Rumination can be about the past, the present, or the future. No matter what it focuses on, it works the same way. It traps your mind, drains your energy, and makes you unhappy. Understanding this is the first step to stopping it. When you realize that repeating the same thoughts over and over does not help, you can begin to take action. You can learn to notice rumination when it happens, pause, and shift your attention to something more positive or more productive. This is how you regain control over your mind, reduce stress, and live with more peace. The important idea is that thinking carefully and solving problems is very different from ruminating. Critical thinking and reflection help you grow, improve your decisions, and feel confident. Rumination only makes you stuck. By seeing the difference, you can start to practice better thinking, live more in the present, and feel calmer and happier each day. Rumination does not bring peace, growth, or solutions. It only takes your energy and makes you feel worse. I want you to remember this. It is completely normal to think about your life. It is normal to feel sad, worried, or upset sometimes. That is part of being human. But rumination is different. Rumination happens when you cannot stop thinking about something, and these thoughts do not help you at all. They only hurt you. Rumination keeps you stuck, makes small problems feel bigger than they really are, steals your peace, and makes it difficult to enjoy the present moment. So, whenever you hear the word rumination, remember this. It means thinking too much, especially about negative things. It is a type of thinking that does not help you solve problems or feel better. Instead, it makes you feel worse, sadder, or more stressed. In the next part of this podcast, we will explore an important question. Why do people ruminate? Why does the mind keep returning to the same thoughts again and again, even when it hurts us? And why is it so hard to stop? These are great questions, and the answers are very practical and simple. One common reason people ruminate is because they worry about the past. Everyone makes mistakes. Sometimes we say something we do not really mean. Sometimes we make decisions that we later wish we had handled differently. This is normal. Everyone experiences it. But for many people, it is hard to let go of these moments. The mind keeps replaying them over and over. We ask ourselves, why did I do that? Or why didn't I do it differently? It is like watching the same scene in a movie again and again. We might think that replaying the moment will help us learn something or feel better, but usually it does not. Instead, it makes us feel worse. We feel more regret. We feel more sadness. We feel more stress. Our energy goes into thinking instead of living, and the problem never really gets solved. Another reason people ruminate is regret. Regret is feeling sorry about something you did or something you did not do. For example, maybe you wanted to apply for a job, but you were too afraid, and now the opportunity is gone. Or maybe you wanted to speak up in a conversation, but stayed quiet. Later, your mind keeps returning to these moments, saying, if only I had done this, if only I had said that. Regret is natural, but rumination takes regret too far. Instead of learning from the experience and moving forward, it traps you in negative thoughts, replaying the same moments repeatedly. Rumination is powerful because it feels like thinking is helping, but it is actually keeping your mind stuck. It does not solve the problem. It does not create solutions, and it does not bring peace. Instead, it increases stress, sadness, and anxiety. Understanding this is the first step to stopping it. When we recognize rumination for what it is, we can start to let go of thoughts that do not help us and bring our attention back to the present. In the next section, we will look at practical ways to stop rumination and regain peace of mind. We will see simple steps you can take when your mind keeps returning to the same negative thoughts, helping you feel calmer, happier, and more confident in your life. Sometimes, rumination starts with regret. Maybe you want to say something kind to someone, but you stayed quiet. Later, your mind keeps returning to that moment. You think, I should have said something. I missed my chance. You feel regret. You wish you could go back and change the past, but we all know that is impossible. Still, the thought repeats itself over and over. It grows in your mind and starts the cycle of rumination. The more you replay the moment, the more stuck you feel. Small regrets can feel bigger than they really are because your mind keeps chewing on them, like a cow chewing the same grass again and again. Another common reason for rumination is fear of the future. When we think about what might happen, sometimes we feel scared. Our mind asks, what if I fail? What if something bad happens? Then, our imagination starts creating stories about the future. Often stories full of problems, danger, and worry. For example, imagine you have a test next week. You keep thinking about it, imagining that you will forget everything or fail. Or maybe you have to give a speech. You imagine people laughing at you or judging you. Even though nothing bad has happened yet, it feels like it already did. This is rumination about the future. It steals your peace today because your mind is too busy worrying about tomorrow. People also ruminate when they want to solve a problem. At first, this seems smart. We think, if I think more about this, I will find the answer. But rumination is different from problem solving. Instead of taking action, our minds get stuck. We keep thinking about the problem, but nothing changes. We imagine solutions, think through what went wrong, and replay the same ideas again and again. It feels like thinking more will give us control, but in reality, it only gives us more stress, fear, and worry. The problem remains, and we feel stuck in our own thoughts. Another reason people ruminate is feeling out of control. Sometimes things happen that we cannot change. Maybe someone said something hurtful. Maybe a situation at work or school did not go as planned. Our minds want to fight it, even if we cannot. We keep returning to the thought, hoping to change the past or predict the future. But the more we think about it, the more helpless we feel. Rumination makes us feel trapped, powerless, and overwhelmed. So why do people ruminate? There are many reasons. Sometimes it is because of mistakes in the past. Sometimes it is regret, feeling sorry about something we did or did not do. Sometimes it is fear of the future, worrying about what might happen. Sometimes it is because we want to solve a problem but get stuck in our own thoughts. And sometimes it is because we feel out of control, trying to fight what we cannot change. The important thing to remember is this. Rumination does not help. It does not fix mistakes, prevent problems, or make the future better. Instead, it keeps the mind trapped, increases worry, and steals your peace. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to stopping rumination. Once we understand why the mind keeps repeating thoughts, we can start learning how to break the cycle. Let go of unnecessary worry and focus on the present moment. That is where true calm and happiness begin. Rumination happens for many reasons, but the result is always the same. It makes us feel worse, not better. One of the main reasons people ruminate is because they feel out of control. When something bad happens and we cannot change it, our minds sometimes hold on to it. We think about it again and again because we don't know what else to do. For example, imagine you lost your job. You feel sad, worried, and uncertain about the future. You cannot change what happened, but your mind keeps returning to that moment. You ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Why did this happen to me? In moments like this, rumination can feel like you are being productive. It feels like you are trying to understand the problem or even fix it. But in reality, rumination does not help. It only keeps your mind trapped in negative thoughts. Another reason people ruminate is because they feel hurt by others. Maybe someone said something unkind or treated you unfairly. Your mind keeps replaying the situation over and over. You remember their words, their actions, and ask yourself, why did they do that? What did I do wrong? You feel angry, sad, or frustrated. Sometimes you even imagine what you could have said differently. The pain from the situation keeps bringing the thought back again and again. This is rumination in action. It keeps your emotions active and your mind stuck in the past, even though nothing is changing in the present. Habit is another big reason for rumination. For some people, overthinking becomes a way of life. Their minds are always looking for problems, always looking for danger, even when it is not necessary. This habit may come from past experiences. Maybe you grew up in an environment where you had to worry a lot or be careful all the time. Over time, your brain learns to keep thinking and worrying automatically, even when it is not helpful. The more you practice rumination, the stronger the habit becomes and the harder it feels to stop. So, as you can see, people ruminate for many reasons. They worry about the past. They regret things they did or didn't do. They fear the future. They feel hurt by others. They feel out of control. And sometimes rumination becomes simply a habit, a way the mind automatically reacts to stress or discomfort. The key thing to understand is this: rumination never actually solves the problem. It does not make the past better. It does not prevent mistakes in the future, and it does not calm your mind. Instead, it drains your energy, increases stress, and keeps you trapped in a loop of negative thoughts. Even when you think you are analyzing or thinking carefully, rumination is different from productive thinking. Productive thinking helps you make decisions and take action. Rumination keeps you stuck, replaying the same thoughts without moving forward. Understanding why rumination happens is the first step towards stopping it. When we recognize the patterns, why our minds keep returning to the same thoughts, we can begin to take control, change the habit, and focus on the present moment. We can learn to respond differently, instead of letting the mind automatically replay negative thoughts. Over time, this helps us feel calmer, happier, and more in control of our lives. Rumination can happen for many reasons. Some people ruminate because they regret things from the past. Others ruminate because they are afraid of the future. And some people simply have developed a habit of thinking too much. The reasons may differ, but the result is always the same. Rumination keeps us stuck in negative thoughts. It makes us feel sad, worried, and tired. It steals our peace, our energy, and our ability to enjoy the present moment. But here's the good news. Once we understand why we ruminate, we can learn how to stop it. And that is what we will explore in the next parts of this journey. Understanding is the first step toward change, and change is possible. So, how does rumination affect us in daily life? Let's take a closer look. As we have said, rumination means thinking too much about something, usually something negative. But what does it really do to us? How does this kind of thinking change the way we feel every day? First, rumination can make us feel sad. When we keep thinking about mistakes in the past or worries about the future, sadness grows inside us. For example, maybe you made a small mistake at work, and your mind keeps returning to that moment. The more you think about it, the more upset you feel. Rumination keeps bringing back the same negative feelings again and again, almost like opening an old wound. Even if the event happened a long time ago, your thoughts make it feel fresh and painful again, instead of helping you move forward. Rumination pulls you deeper into sadness. It is like carrying a heavy bag. At first, the bag feels light, but the longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes. Your heart feels heavy, too. It becomes harder to smile, harder to enjoy life, and harder to feel free. Second, rumination can make us feel worried and anxious. When our minds keep imagining things that might go wrong, we feel tension in our bodies and stress in our hearts. For instance, if you have a test or a presentation coming up, rumination might make you imagine every possible mistake. Your mind thinks, what if I fail? What if people laugh at me? Even though nothing bad has happened yet, it feels like it already has. The worry grows bigger because your mind is stuck thinking about all the what-ifs. This kind of thinking makes it hard to focus on what is happening now. It steals your peace and makes it difficult to relax or enjoy the present moment. Third, rumination can make us feel tired and drained. Thinking about the same negative thoughts over and over uses up a lot of mental energy. Your brain works constantly, but nothing productive comes out of it. You might feel exhausted even if you haven't done any physical work. Your body and mind become tired from carrying all these repeated thoughts. Fourth, rumination can change how we see ourselves. When we focus on negative thoughts, our minds start believing those thoughts are true. We might feel guilty, ashamed, or unworthy. Small mistakes feel bigger than they really are. Problems feel overwhelming. Our confidence shrinks, and we may even avoid challenges because we are afraid of failing or being judged. To summarize, rumination has a big impact on our daily life. It makes us sad, worried, tired, and less confident. It keeps us stuck in the past or anxious about the future. It steals our energy, our peace, and our ability to enjoy the present moment. The more we ruminate, the heavier this mental burden becomes. But understanding this is a first step. When we recognize how rumination affects us, we can begin to take small steps to stop it, free our minds, and feel lighter, calmer, and happier. Rumination affects our lives in many ways, and its effects can feel heavy and exhausting. First, rumination can make us feel sad. When we keep thinking about mistakes, problems, or painful moments from the past, our sadness grows. For example, imagine you made a small mistake years ago. Even though it seems minor, your mind keeps bringing it back again and again. Each time you think about it, the sadness comes back, almost like reopening an old wound. Even if the event happened a long time ago, rumination makes it feel fresh, as if it happened yesterday. It is like carrying a heavy bag. At first, the bag may feel light, but the longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes. Rumination is just like that. It makes your heart feel heavy, your thoughts feel heavy, and your emotions feel weighed down. Over time, this constant sadness can make it harder to smile, enjoy life, or feel free. Second, rumination can make us feel anxious or worried. Rumination is not only about the past. It often focuses on the future as well. Our minds imagine things going wrong, creating what-if scenarios that may never happen. For example, if you have a test next week, you may keep thinking, what if I fail? If you have a meeting or a presentation, your mind may imagine, what if people don't like me? What if I make a mistake? What if I look foolish? These thoughts go in circles. They make your body feel nervous, your stomach feel tight, and sometimes even prevent you from sleeping. The sad truth is that most of the things we worry about never actually happen. But rumination tricks your brain into thinking the danger is real, so your body reacts with stress even when there is no real threat. This constant stress can make you feel tense, restless, and uneasy, even during normal daily activities. Third, rumination can make you physically and mentally tired. Thinking takes energy, and when your mind keeps repeating the same problems over and over, it uses a lot of mental energy without giving any solutions. It is like your brain is running on a treadmill that never stops. Your body may be sitting still, but your mind is working nonstop. This constant mental effort can leave you feeling drained. You might wake up in the morning feeling exhausted, even though your body slept. When you feel tired, it is easier to feel sad or anxious, and the cycle of rumination grows stronger. One thought leads to another, and the more tired you become, the harder it is to stop. Fourth, rumination steals your focus and your peace. When your mind is stuck thinking about the past or worrying about the future, it cannot fully enjoy the present moment. Even small joys, like spending time with friends, eating a nice meal, or watching a beautiful sunset, can feel distant or unimportant. Rumination keeps your mind trapped in problems that may no longer exist or may not even happen. Over time, it can reduce your ability to concentrate, make decisions, and enjoy life. In short, rumination has a big impact on daily life. It makes you feel sad, anxious, tired, and distracted. It steals your energy, your peace, and your ability to live fully in the present. Recognizing the effects of rumination is a first step to breaking free from it. Once you understand how it affects your emotions, your body, and your mind, you can begin to take steps to stop it, regain your energy, and live with more calm and happiness. Rumination may feel automatic, but with awareness and practice, it is possible to change how you think. Rumination has many effects on our lives, and some of them can feel very heavy if we don't understand what is happening. One of the first things rumination does is take away our ability to enjoy the present. When your mind is full of thoughts about the past or worries about the future, it is hard to feel happy in the moment. For example, imagine you are sitting with friends or family. They are talking, laughing, and having fun, but your mind is somewhere else. Your body is in the room, but your thoughts are far away. Focus on something that already happened or something that might happen. Or maybe you are outside on a sunny day. The birds are singing. The wind is gentle, but you don't notice because your mind is busy thinking about problems. Life gives us many small joys every day, but rumination hides them from us. It is like wearing sunglasses all the time that block out the light of simple happiness. Second, rumination can make small problems feel much bigger than they really are. When we think too much about a situation, even tiny issues start to feel serious and overwhelming. For example, maybe you forget to reply to a friend's message. Normally, this is not a big deal. Everyone forgets sometimes. But when you ruminate, your mind may say, "They must be angry with me. I am a bad friend." Suddenly, a small mistake feels huge, and your emotions grow heavier. The more you think about it, the harder it feels to fix, and this makes you feel even more stuck. Rumination magnifies problems instead of helping you solve them. Third, rumination keeps us stuck in the same place. Perhaps the most serious effect is that it stops us from moving forward. When we spend too much time thinking about problems, mistakes, or worries, we forget to take action. We don't try to solve the problem, we don't try to move on, and we don't try to grow. We stay trapped in our thoughts. Over time, this can prevent us from learning new things, trying new experiences, or enjoying life. It can even lead to deeper sadness, stress, and sometimes depression. Rumination feels like walking in circles in your mind. You are moving, but you never reach a solution. In addition, rumination can make us feel emotionally heavy and tired. Constantly thinking about problems or worries uses a lot of energy. Your brain is always running, even when your body is resting. This makes you feel exhausted, stressed, and sometimes even physically drained. When we are tired, it is easier to feel sad or anxious, and rumination grows stronger. It becomes a cycle that is hard to break. The more we think, the more we feel, and the more we feel, the more we think. Rumination also steals joy from life. When your mind is caught in negative thoughts, You can miss the small, beautiful moments that are happening right in front of you. A kind word, a smile, the sound of birds, a sunset. These things become invisible when your mind is busy chewing the same negative thoughts over and over. Rumination can also make us feel helpless. We focus on problems instead of solutions, and our sense of control over life seems smaller. To summarize, rumination affects us in many ways. It makes us sad, anxious, and tired. It steals joy from the present moment. It turns small problems into big ones and keeps us stuck in our own minds. The good news is that once we understand these effects, we can begin to make changes. By recognizing rumination and learning strategies to manage it, we can gradually free our minds, feel lighter, and enjoy life more fully. Understanding is the first step towards stopping rumination and creating a calmer, happier life. Now that we understand what rumination is and how it affects us, it is very important to learn the difference between rumination and reflection. These two words might sound similar because both are about thinking, but they are very different. One can help you grow, and the other can make you feel worse. Knowing the difference is key if you want to use your mind in a helpful way and find more peace. Let's start with reflection. Reflection means thinking in a calm, clear, and useful way. When you reflect, you look at a situation and try to learn from it. Reflection is not about blaming yourself or feeling guilty. It is about understanding what happened, noticing what worked well, and finding ways to improve for next time. Reflection has a purpose. You think because you want to learn, make better choices, or create a plan for the future. When you reflect, you usually feel clearer, calmer, and ready to move forward. Here's an example of reflection. Imagine you gave a short speech in class. Afterward, you sit down and think about how it went. You might say to yourself, I spoke clearly and that was good, but next time I should try to look at the audience more. Reflection helps you notice both strengths and areas to improve. It gives you useful information and ideas for the future. When you finish reflecting, you often feel more confident, more organized in your thoughts, and more ready to try again. Reflection is a healthy habit. It helps you grow and become better without making you feel bad about yourself. Now, let's look at rumination again. Rumination also involves thinking, but it works in an unhelpful way. When you ruminate, your mind goes over the same problem again and again. You keep thinking about what went wrong, what could have been done differently, or what might happen in the future. The key difference is that rumination does not lead to solutions or learning. It keeps your thoughts in a loop, making you feel sad, anxious, or worried. Rumination focuses on problems instead of answers. It does not teach you anything or help you improve. It only makes your emotions heavier. For example, imagine the same speech situation. Instead of reflecting, you ruminate. You keep thinking, I spoke badly. Everyone must have thought I was terrible. I always make mistakes. You repeat these thoughts again and again, but you don't notice what went well, and you don't make a plan to improve. Your mind just stays stuck. This makes you feel worse, not better. Rumination traps you in the past or in fears about the future. Reflection, on the other hand, uses thinking in a positive and productive way, while rumination uses thinking in a negative and unhelpful way. Understanding this difference is very useful. Reflection gives you information, insight, and calm. Rumination takes your energy, makes you sad or anxious, and keeps you stuck. One helps you move forward. The other keeps you trapped. Once you can notice whether your thoughts are reflective or ruminative, you can start choosing the helpful path. You can learn to stop rumination and replace it with reflection. This is how you begin to take control of your mind and bring more peace into your life. When we ruminate, our thoughts keep turning over the same negative moment again and again. The more we think about it, the worse we feel. It is like your mind is replaying a bad scene in a movie that never ends. Instead of helping, it makes you feel tired, stressed, or even sad. After a while, it can feel impossible to enjoy the present moment because your mind is stuck in the past or worrying about the future. Let's go back to the speech example. Imagine you just gave a short speech in class. If you start ruminating, your mind might say, I was terrible. Everyone must think I'm stupid. I can't believe I forgot that word. I always mess things up. You repeat these thoughts again and again. You don't learn anything new. You don't make a plan to improve. You don't notice what went well. Instead, you only feel worse about yourself. Your thoughts go in a circle, and your emotions get heavier each time. That is the core of rumination. Now, let's look at reflection again. Reflection is different. When you reflect, you think about what happened in a calm, helpful way. You ask questions like, what went well? What can I do better next time? Reflection gives you useful information. It helps you plan, learn, and grow. After reflecting, you feel clearer, calmer, and ready to take the next step. Reflection moves you forward, while rumination keeps you stuck. So, what is the main difference between rumination and reflection? Reflection helps you. Rumination hurts you. Reflection is healthy thinking. Focus on learning and improving. Rumination is unhealthy thinking. Focus on blame, regret, or worry. Reflection gives answers. Rumination gives only pain. Reflection usually makes you feel calm and clear. Rumination usually makes you feel stressed, heavy, and trapped. Here is an easy way to remember. Whenever you catch yourself thinking about a problem again and again, ask yourself, am I reflecting or am I ruminating? If you are reflecting, you will feel calmer and ready to move forward. If you are ruminating, you will feel stuck and heavy. The goal is to practice reflection and reduce rumination. Reflection helps you grow. Rumination keeps you in the same place. Think about how these two types of thinking feel. Rumination is heavy and confusing. Your mind is full of thoughts, but you are not moving forward. It feels like your brain is very busy, yet you're going nowhere. Reflection, on the other hand, feels very different. Reflection is like using a map to find your way. It gives you direction and clarity. Reflection shows you what to do next, while rumination just keeps you spinning in circles. In short, reflection is thinking that guides you, teaches you, and helps you grow. Rumination is thinking that traps you, stresses you, and keeps you stuck. The more we practice reflection, the easier it becomes to let go of unhelpful thoughts and move forward with confidence. This is a powerful skill for life. Rumination makes your mind go in circles. You spend a lot of energy thinking about the same problem again and again, but you don't move closer to solution. It is like running on a treadmill. Your brain is very busy, but you are not going anywhere. Let's think about another example to make this clear. Imagine you had a small argument with a friend. If you use reflection, you might think, I was tired, so maybe I spoke too quickly. Next time, I can try to listen more. This kind of thinking is helpful. It gives you ideas for the future. It helps you improve. It gives you a plan. It makes you feel calmer and ready to act. But if you ruminate, your thoughts might be very different. You might think, why did I say that? I'm such a bad friend. They must hate me now. You keep repeating these thoughts over and over. You don't learn anything new. You don't create a plan for next time. You only feel worse and more stuck. Rumination does not help you grow. It traps you in sadness, worry, or regret. Reflection and rumination may both be about thinking, but they are very different. Reflection helps you grow. Rumination keeps you trapped. Reflection is healthy thinking. Rumination is unhealthy thinking. The key is to notice the difference. When you catch yourself thinking, ask, is this thought helping me or is it hurting me? If it is helpful, you are reflecting. If it is hurting you, you are ruminating. Here's something powerful. Once you notice rumination, you can stop it and choose reflection instead. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me, you can ask, what can I learn from this? What can I do better next time? This small shift changes everything. It makes your mind feel lighter. It gives you strength. It helps you move forward. Now, let's talk about how to stop rumination. I know it can feel very hard. When your mind keeps returning to the same worry, mistake, or problem, it can feel like you have no control. But there is good news. There are simple steps you can take to help your mind let go of rumination. These strategies don't require any special tools, just practice and awareness. Tip 1. Write your thoughts down. When your head is full of thoughts, it can feel heavy, like carrying a heavy backpack. Writing your thoughts on paper is like setting the backpack down. You don't have to worry about grammar or spelling. Just write exactly what is in your mind. Write all your worries, regrets, or questions. Once your thoughts are on paper, your mind feels lighter. You can see the problem clearly instead of carry it inside your head. Writing also helps you notice patterns in your thinking. You might see that many of your worries are repetitive, and this helps you understand when you are ruminating instead of reflecting. Tip 2. Talk to someone. Sharing your thoughts with a friend, family member, or teacher can give your mind a break. Sometimes just saying the words out loud can help you see the situation more clearly. Talking is a way to release tension and get support. People who listen carefully can give advice or help you think in a reflective, helpful way instead of letting you get stuck in rumination. Tip 3. Focus on the present moment. Rumination often keeps you trapped in the past or worried about the future. Bringing your attention to right now can help you escape the cycle. Notice your surroundings, what you are doing, and what is happening around you. You can try small exercises like taking deep breaths, listening to sounds, feeling the texture of an object, or even walking while paying attention to each step. These small moments of awareness remind your mind that life is happening now, not in the past or future. Tip 4. Take action. Rumination often makes us feel powerless because we think instead of doing. Even small steps forward help. If the problem is something you can fix, make a plan and do one small action. If it is something you cannot change, remind yourself that thinking more will not help. Shift your energy towards something you can control. By practicing these steps, writing, talking, focusing on the present, and taking action, you can reduce rumination. You can replace unhelpful thinking with reflection. Reflection helps you learn, grow, and feel lighter. Rumination keeps you trapped, stressed, and tired. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to notice rumination early and choose reflection instead. Sometimes our minds get stuck on the same thoughts over and over. You might think about mistakes you made, worries about the future, or problems that seem too big to handle. This is called rumination, and it can make you feel tired, stressed, or even sad. But the good news is, there are ways to calm your mind and stop these thoughts from taking over. You don't have to fight them alone, and there are simple things you can do every day to help yourself feel better. One of the easiest ways to deal with rumination is to write your thoughts down. When you put your worries on paper, your brain gets a chance to rest. Seeing your thoughts written down can make them feel smaller, less scary, and more manageable. Writing also helps you understand whether your worries are real or if they are just things you are imagining. You do not need to write a lot. Just a few sentences about what is on your mind can help clear your head. For example, you can start by writing, "I am worried about," or "I feel," and then keep going. It might feel strange at first, but after a while, writing becomes like a conversation with yourself. You get to release thoughts that have been circling in your head, and that can bring relief. The act of seeing your thoughts on paper creates distance from them, which makes them easier to handle. Over time, this habit can help you notice patterns in your thinking and even find solutions to problems you didn't see before. Another way to stop rumination is to talk to someone you trust. When we keep thoughts to ourselves, they spin around in our heads like a wheel. Talking to a friend, family member, teacher, or someone else you trust breaks that cycle. Simply speaking your worries out loud can make them feel lighter. The person you talk to can listen, offer support, and sometimes give you new perspective that you didn't think of. You don't have to face everything alone. Sharing your thoughts gives your brain a chance to relax, and even a short conversation can reduce stress. It is okay to start small. Just saying, "I am feeling anxious about something," can open the door to feeling better. Over time, regularly talking about your thoughts can prevent them from building up and becoming overwhelming. A third way to stop rumination is to focus on the present moment. Many of our worries live either in the past or the future. We replay mistakes we have made, or we imagine problems that might happen. But rumination loses its power when we bring our attention to right now. You can practice simple exercises to stay present. For example, look around you and name 5 things you can see. Listen carefully and notice 3 sounds around you, like birds, the wind, or voices. Feel your feet touching the ground and take a slow, deep breath. Pay attention to how it feels as air goes in and out. Doing these small actions helps your mind stop drifting to worries. It trains your brain to stay in the present. And when your focus is on the here and now, there's much less room for negative thoughts to take over. This practice might feel small, but it can have a big impact if done regularly. Finally, another powerful way to break free from rumination is to do something active. Physical activity or using your hands can give your brain a break from heavy thinking. You could go for a walk, play a sport, cook a meal, draw, or even clean your room. These activities help shift your attention away from stressful thoughts and let your mind reset. When you move your body, your brain naturally focuses on what you're doing, and there is less room for ruminating. Doing something creative or productive also gives a sense of accomplishment, which can improve your mood. Even small actions like stretching, tidying up, or watering plants count. Over time, staying active becomes a tool you can rely on whenever your thoughts start spinning in circles. Remember, rumination is common, but it doesn't have to control you. Writing down your thoughts, talking to someone, staying present, and being active are all simple ways to calm your mind. Each step helps you release the weight of constant worry, so your brain can rest and you can feel lighter and more in control. You are not alone, and you can practice these methods anytime, anywhere. By using these tools, you give yourself a chance to stop the cycle of rumination and find peace in your day-to-day life. Sometimes our minds get stuck in the same thoughts over and over. This is called rumination. Rumination can make you feel heavy, stressed, or stuck because you keep thinking about mistakes from the past or worries about the future. The good news is you don't have to stay trapped in these thoughts. You can choose a healthier way to think called reflection. Reflection is calm, helpful thinking that lets you learn from your experiences and grow. It helps you move forward instead of staying in the same place. Reflection feels light and purposeful, like looking at a map to find your way. Rumination, on the other hand, feels heavy and confusing, like walking in circles and never reaching anywhere. The key is to notice when you are ruminating and take steps to shift toward reflection. There are many ways to stop rumination and start reflecting. One way is to write your thoughts down. Putting your worries on paper makes them smaller and easier to manage. Even a few sentences can help clear your mind. Writing allows you to see whether your worries are real or just imagined. It also gives your brain a chance to rest. Another way is to talk to someone you trust. Speaking your thoughts out loud breaks the cycle of rumination. You might share with a friend, a family member, a teacher, or anyone who listens with kindness. Just talking can make your mind feel lighter, and the person you talk to might help you see your problem in a new way. You don't have to carry your worries alone. You can also bring your attention to the present moment. Rumination usually lives in the past or the future. To focus on now, notice the world around you. Look at 5 things you can see. Listen for 3 sounds. Feel your feet on the ground. Take slow, deep breaths and notice how it feels. These small actions anchor your mind in the present, leaving less room for worries. Another helpful method is to do something active. Use your body or hands to give your mind a break. Go for a walk, play a sport, draw, cook, clean, or play with a pet. Being active helps shift your attention from repeating thoughts to what you are doing right now. Even small actions like stretching or tidying your room can make a difference. It also helps to set limits for thinking. You don't need to spend all day on the same worry. Decide how much time you will spend thinking about a problem, and then move on to something else. Another tip is to ask better questions. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" try asking, "What can I do differently next time?" This changes your focus from blaming yourself to finding solutions. You can also practice self-kindness. Treat yourself the way you would treat a good friend, with patience, understanding, and support. And finally, remember to let go of things you cannot control. Focus on what you can do right now. Small actions you take today can help you feel stronger and calmer. All of these steps, writing, talking, focusing on the present, being active, setting limits, asking better questions, practicing self-kindness, and letting go, are simple, but together they create a powerful tool to move away from rumination. They help you replace heavy, confusing thinking with clear, calm reflection. Reflection allows you to learn from your experiences, understand your emotions, and make better choices in the future. Over time, using these strategies can make your mind feel lighter, your heart calmer, and your day more manageable. You don't need to do everything perfectly. Even trying one or two of these steps can make a big difference. The goal is progress, not perfection. By practicing reflection, you give yourself the chance to grow, solve problems, and live more peacefully without getting trapped in endless circles of worry. Stopping rumination is not something that happens all at once. It is a skill, a habit that takes practice. Your mind may return to the same worries or repeated thoughts many times, and that is completely normal. The important thing is how you respond when it happens. Each time you notice your mind go in circles and gently guide it back to calmer, healthier thinking, you are growing stronger. Little steps every day lead to big changes over time. And with patience, you can teach your mind to be calmer and more peaceful. A good first step is to notice your thinking. Ask yourself, am I reflecting or am I ruminating? Reflection is healthy thinking that helps you learn from your experiences and plan your next steps. Rumination is unhelpful thinking that keeps you stuck in the same thoughts, making you feel heavier, stressed, or anxious. If you catch yourself reflecting, keep going, it will help you. But if you notice rumination taking over, you can use simple strategies to break the cycle and calm your mind. One of the most helpful ways is to write down your thoughts. Putting worries on paper gives your mind a chance to rest. Writing can make your problems feel smaller and easier to understand. Even a few sentences about how you feel or what worries you can help release thoughts that are spinning in your head. Another powerful tool is to talk to someone you trust. Sharing your worries with a friend, family member, teacher, or anyone who listens kindly can break the cycle of repeating thoughts. Talking allows you to feel lighter and may help you see your problem in a new way. You can also focus on the present moment. Rumination usually happens when we think about the past or worry about the future. To bring yourself back to now, notice what you can see, hear, or feel around you. Look at 5 things in your surroundings. Listen for 3 different sounds, or feel your feet on the ground as you breathe slowly. These small actions anchor your mind in the present and make it harder for worries to take over. Another helpful method is to keep your body busy. Doing something physical or creative, like walking, drawing, cooking, or cleaning, can give your brain a break from heavy thoughts. Using your hands and moving your body shifts your focus and helps you reset. It also helps to ask better questions. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" try asking, "What can I do differently next time?" This turns your attention toward solutions rather than self-blame. Being kind to yourself is equally important. Treat yourself the way you would treat a good friend, with understanding, patience, and support. And finally, let go of what you cannot control. Focus on what you can do today. Even small actions can make your mind feel calmer and your day more manageable. All of these steps, writing your thoughts down, talking to someone, focusing on the present, staying active, asking better questions, practicing self-kindness, and letting go, may seem simple, but together they form a strong set of tools. They help you move away from rumination and toward reflection, peace, and clarity. Each small choice you make matters. Every time you notice your thoughts and guide them back to calm thinking, you are making progress. Every time you choose a kind thought for yourself, you are moving in the right direction. Remember, stopping rumination is a journey, not a quick fix. You can learn to manage your thoughts, let go of unhelpful worries, and bring more peace, calm, and happiness into your life. Practice each step patiently and celebrate the small wins. Over time, these habits become stronger and your mind becomes lighter, calmer, and more confident. You have the power to guide your thoughts, and with gentle effort every day, you can create a mind that feels peaceful, clear, and free from endless circles of worry. You can do this one small step at a time. Before we finish, I want to encourage you to practice talking about this topic. Try explaining rumination in your own words. You can tell someone what it means, why it is not helpful, and share a few of the tips we have discussed. Speaking about it out loud will help you remember the ideas better. It will also give you a chance to practice your English and improve your speaking skills at the same time. You don't need to say everything perfectly. Just try to explain it clearly and simply. The more you talk about it, the more confident you will become in understanding and applying these ideas in your own life. You can also listen to this episode again if you want to review the tips or hear the examples one more time. Listening multiple times helps reinforce the ideas in your mind and makes them easier to remember. If you know a friend, classmate, or a family member who might find this helpful, share it with them. Talking about rumination and reflection together can make the learning experience even more effective. You might even discover new ways to handle your thoughts by hearing how someone else understands or explains them. Learning becomes easier and more fun when we share it with others. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, liking, or sharing. Your support helps reach more people who want to improve their English or learn about mental wellness. Every time you subscribe or share, you are helping create more useful content for English learners like you. It also encourages us to keep making content that is clear, practical, and easy to understand. Sharing this knowledge about rumination can make a real difference in someone else's life. You never know who might be struggling with the same worries and could benefit from these tips. Finally, I would love to hear from you. Feel free to leave a comment, question, or message. You can tell us what you think about this topic, share your own experiences, or ask for clarification on any of the tips we discussed. Your feedback is important because it helps us understand what works for you and how we can make future content even more helpful. Every comment, question, or story you share add value and helps others who might be reading or listening. Talking about mental wellness and learning together makes the experience stronger for everyone. Thank you so much for listening and for taking the time to learn about rumination and reflection. Remember to take care of yourself as you practice these new skills. Be patient and kind with your mind. It is normal to have worries, but with practice, you can learn to notice them, guide your thoughts toward calm reflection, and let go of unhelpful thinking. Each step you take brings you closer to a peaceful and confident mind. I hope you find these tips useful in your daily life. I look forward to speaking with you again soon, and I hope this episode inspires you to continue learning, reflecting, and growing. Take care, and remember, you can make a difference in your own life, one small step at a time.